Welcome to another episode of No Ordinary Woman, where we recognise and celebrate women of all ages and all stages. I'm Fiona Briffa, and today I've got Nalini Tranquim joining me. Hi, Nalini.
Hi, Fiona. It's so nice to be with you today.
It's so nice to be with you too. I've been really looking forward to speaking with you. Nalini is a musician, singer. She has so many different talents, but she's most of all a transformation coach, and she comes alongside women to help them in their journey of becoming their best self. So we're going to talk today with Nalini about her journey and what got her to doing this and her own personal journey. So Nalini, what stage were you at? Talk us a little bit through about when you realized you weren't everything you could be.
Wow. Yes. Okay. That's a very interesting place to start. I think I'm going to go back a little because I wasn't born with low self-esteem, negative self-belief.
Yeah.
And I actually say this on behalf of every woman that is potentially watching this show. It's external influences, that impact who we see ourselves as, right? And so from a very young age, I had this love for piano. And so mum and dad were so supportive. They got me into piano lessons really early and got me my first piano when I was about 4.
Oh.
And so I know, and so from such a young age, I just had this dream in my heart that one day, I was going to move to London and I was going to become the next best thing with piano, right? So my whole childhood was kind of gearing me up to this one single vision. So jumped on an airplane. I grew up, I'll just take you back, I grew up in Zimbabwe. And so at 18, jumped on an aircraft to London.
Wow.
Little crazy.
Brave.
But I had this vision in my heart and I was going to go and do it, Anyway, arrive in London only to discover that messing around with a boyfriend a few months earlier back in Zimbabwe was probably not a good idea because I was pregnant. Right.
Spanner in the works.
Spanner in the works. And so it kind of sent my whole life down this trajectory that I just was not expecting. But that was kind of the beginning of the chipping away of my identity and who I saw myself as, because at that point I saw myself as a failure. Here I was telling all my loved ones that this is what I'm going to do, and a few months later, oh no, she's not doing that, she's married, she's got a baby, and it's almost like, okay, well, that's another defeated dream. Move on to somebody else. And so, it knocked my confidence. Stopped playing the piano. I just thought, okay, well, that's my dream over. I've got this beautiful baby and I'm now married to the love of my life. So I guess that's my life now. And I'm just
maybe I had my dreams wrong.
Yes.
Did that cross your mind?
100% must have got it wrong. Maybe it was just a little girl fantasy. But now I'm living in the real world.
See, that's a really interesting point, because I really think that there's things that I've got from my childhood, and you think that they're maybe pretend girly childhood fantasies, but I think they're things that are planted inside you to give you an idea of what you can become. Otherwise, 100%. Why would they be there? No, because they kind of seem like delusions of grandeur and all that sort of. I dreamed I was going to have a show like Oprah, and I'm getting there. Look, I've got this.
Look at you, girl.
If it doesn't happen, make it yourself. But so when you go through that process and you kind of feel like, okay, that's it, dream over, then what happens next?
Yeah, exactly. Well, you end up settling, don't you?
Yes, that's a good word.
Then mediocrity kicks in. That sense of hope for those dreams when you were little dissipates.
So you don't dare to dream anymore?
No. No, you shove it in the box, or shove it in the back of the cupboard. And that's it. Now it's, motherhood, being a wife, getting a job, paying the bills. It just becomes humdrum.
And you
and
dial it all down to suit what you think you're meant to be doing now.
Yes.
You don't think you can do both. So at what point did you realize this is not what I ordered? This is not what, I mean, I love being a mother, I love being a wife, perhaps. I mean, for some people out there, some women out there, it might not be such a big love. But when did you get to the point where you went, no, I want more?
It would have been several years later. So I think little one was probably about 3 by that time. And it's a funny story, actually. It's a little unexpected. My husband came home from work this one day. He had met this guy who had just moved to London with his family. Extremely dynamic, incredible character, full of life, full of passion, really excited about what he was going to do in this city. He worked for a non-for-profit, and he just had this, I'm going to change London, and so my husband's introducing me to this, he's telling me about this man, and I had this little glimmer of, sort of excitement in my heart at the prospect of possibly meeting him one day. And they ended up reconnecting, a little bit later. And eventually we decided to pay him a visit and check out the work that he was doing. And in the end, ended up working for him. But music was part of the work that he did. And so it actually gave me a platform to be able to do what I was passionate about, what I loved. And so it kind of sparked, I guess, a match on the inside of me again, that, maybe it's not impossible to be able to multitask and to still be a mum and to still be a wife and to still fulfill the dreams that are on the inside of my heart. Okay. So it was like a new lease of life. Yes. And so I was initially volunteering for him, and over time he was like, listen, we just want to take you on payroll. We want you on our team. We absolutely love what you do. The music was really taking off. We were getting more and more musicians joining and being a part of the work that we were doing, and he was super excited and I was super excited, and so I signed the agreement with him and went on to staff with him. Only to end up experiencing really horrific narcissistic abuse from him as the months progressed. And again, it was like this unexpected transition that occurred that I did not see coming. And it kind of sideswiped me. But what it was doing was, again, it was impacting what I believed about me.
And that's what happens, isn't it? Like, for some reason we go to, I'm not good enough, not they are treating me badly, or it goes instantly to you.
100%. And even the way in which he would approach things with me, it was very much, I was the one in the wrong. I'm the one with the problem. And so each day I was beginning to believe this internal narrative that I don't have what it takes.
And this is why the dream fizzled out, because I wasn't good enough for it in the first place. So this is now confirmation that I'm not good enough. And so it sent me on this downward spiral. And this is an abusive relationship. It's a workplace abusive relationship, which is a whole nother story. But I think that these are the little things that happen to many, many women. And I'm not even going to say most women, because I don't think I've come across many women that haven't had something chip away at their confidence and self-beliefs and their hopes and dreams. And it could be something that somebody says to you when you're a child, or it could be something that somebody says to you as an adult. And I was talking to someone about this yesterday and was saying that I remember my daughter's first day of kinder, and during this first initial meet and greet, there were little tables set up and there were little games and puzzles and things, and my daughter sat down at the table and just took over, and she said, okay, so you play with that and you do this and you organize, you can do that picture, and she kind of organized everybody. And the teacher came over and she said to me, oh, she's bossy, isn't she? And I said, well, actually, no, I'm seeing leadership skills and organisation skills here. And I said, can you please not ever let her hear you say that? And that things like that, if she had have heard that, her brain would have associated this behaviour is wrong.
Absolutely.
I shouldn't lead. I shouldn't organise. So it can happen right back from then, or it can happen when we go through, like you said, you're in the relationship and you get married, or something didn't quite go right, and then you go, oh, maybe I'm not good enough for it. We immediately go to not enough.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I wonder where that comes from, because it's not something you're born with. It's something you learn. And this is why I think women coming together, and the purpose of this show is just to constantly encourage and raise each other up and tell each other, yes, you can. And first of all, you already are enough right here and right now today.
Yeah.
But you can also do anything that you want to do, and you will face challenges. You will have obstacles you've got to climb over, like you just described. Like, yes, my dream is finally happening. Punch, 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 punch by the guy that you're working with. Well, not physically, metaphorically. Sorry, just to make that clear. Chipping away at your self-confidence and self-belief. Then what happens? You get to that point where you're like, well, maybe this is just not this is all there is. How do you rebuild that? How did you do that to regain Nalini's belief in herself?
I am so grateful for my family because they were able to see and identify the detrimental damage that this man was having on me.
Right.
I had actually gotten to the point of suicide. The abuse was just so horrific. I was convinced that there was no way out. And that, I would lose everything if I walked away from this role.
Oh, wow.
And my husband, actually, it was one Saturday morning, he was shaving, as he does, and I walked into the bathroom and I just slouched to the floor. And I just said to him, I can't do this anymore. I feel like a bad mum. I feel like a bad wife. I feel like I'm failing in every area of my life. And I can't do this anymore. And what I was saying to him was, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah. The whole thing.
Oh, and I don't know what it was, but something just riled up on the inside of him. I think it just comes with our loved ones, right? Is this ferocity to now want to fight for me.
Protect you.
Yes, and to protect. And it just started the ball rolling that day where he made the decision, I have got to pull my family out of this. And our only way really at that point in time was we have to leave.
Because this was a friend of his, right? So he's stuck between, oh my gosh. Did he have any idea that this was happening before this day?
I would share little bits of what was happening, but even then, because of the way in which the abuse was taking place, it was extremely narcissistic.
Yeah.
You as the victim believe that you're the problem.
In the wrong. Oh, right? Yes. Yeah.
So you don't go out of your way to tell your loved ones that you've stuffed up again.
Right. Okay.
Because you're already feeling bad about yourself. But what he didn't notice progressively over time was, when we'd get home in the evening and we were all chatting at the dinner table about our day, I wasn't as bright and bubbly anymore. I wasn't as, he'd ask, so how was your day? And I'd be, oh, yeah, it was all right. It was okay.
And fob it off.
Just kind of fob it off, focus on the kids, focus on hubby. You don't want to talk about it. You want to just hide. You want to literally bury it under the rug and just pretend it's not there. But then what that does is it becomes like a festering sore on the inside of you, and you feel like you're just going to explode. Like like there's no relief.
And all you've got is your own self-talk, because there's no external encouragement or anything. So you've just got the same story regurgitating over and over. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So it was only until we actually left England, moved to Australia. And it was like our first week in Australia, and I'm walking along the Western Australia coast, just absolutely magnificent, that for the first time I felt this new sense of, oh wow, okay, I can breathe, I can live again. I'm out of that now. He has got no control over me anymore. I can now heal from the damage done and look forward to this new life that stands before me and my precious family. And so I had this like
newness of life.
Yes. Like this, the sky's the limit now.
Maybe I can. And that's a power of allowing ourselves to listen to other people's words, and it's very, very hard if you are coming from a point of you've already been chipped away at. And I think it's a really good point though, because we often talk about abuse in relationships but we don't ever hear of things that happen like to women in the workplace and how their self-esteem can be chipped away in the workplace as well. And I think this is a really good conversation to have, is to just any woman out there watching this that can recognize some of this is like, this is impacting you and is not okay. It's not okay in a relationship. It's not okay in a workplace. It's not okay from your parents. It's because it can happen. There's parents that can be kind of abusive, I guess. Like just take away that power from you.
Yeah.
And I think this is it's really good to recognize that it's not just in romantic relationships that this can happen, but it's never ever okay.
It's never okay. And I think part of the challenge is, again, because of the way the abuse takes place, it's so subtle. Yes, and you're the one made to be the problem.
They're very clever.
Very clever. They know exactly what they're doing because they're diverting the attention off of them and onto you.
Yes.
Right? Even though you're the victim in this equation.
Yeah.
The worst is when it's brought up in team meetings, all right, and you're pulled up in public and almost shamed in public because now your colleagues are looking at you like,
Wow. Yeah. And it's amazing what other people's opinions do to our self-esteem. So this is where I think all of us as women need to work out a way to not be impacted. It's very, very hard, especially if you've had it for a long time, because your brain starts to, your defenses start to weaken, don't they? But it's about that positive self-talk that needs to happen. And my favorite saying is, other people's opinions of me are none of my business. So I don't care what anybody else says about me or anything like that. But it has been, I have been impacted in the past through abusive relationships and even bullying from school.
Yeah.
Growing up thinking I was annoying.
Yeah.
I had that belief right through to my adult, 30s.
Oh.
Thought I was annoying because I talked too much, because name calling and stuff like that. And I do talk too much, don't get me wrong.
But isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting how it's almost like its purpose is to silence you?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And the one thing that I've noticed is the things we get criticized for are usually our gifts. So I wasn't until I was in my 30s that I became a trainer and speaker. I realized, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
The thing that I thought was my flaw is actually my gift. So I tried to be quiet and dial down my bubbles and dial down my personality because I thought I was annoying. And then, of course, my little brain connected a whole heap of other things to that label. So I tried, and I think this is like just going back to making it a general thing for all women, is to even just start to recognize, what is it that's actually amazing about me, and focus on all of your gifts and your strengths and your qualities and your heart, regardless of whatever you've done well or not so well in the past, but focus on all the amazing attributes about yourself to balance out that input into your brain, because your brain's like a computer, what it's programmed. So you were hearing nothing but negative input from this guy, with no positive to balance, at least at the very minimum, balance it out, and no ability to self-talk through it as well.
Absolutely. But I think also one other little tool that I'd like to give the girls is be very consciously aware of who you allow to speak into your life.
Yes.
Okay? Because you're basically inadvertently giving them that power.
I just want to say that again. Be aware of who you are allowing to speak into your life. So it's speaking into you.
Yes.
It is a power, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, it really is, because words penetrate, right? Yeah. Words impact from the time you were a little girl. I don't know if you had this, but I had this. Mum would make me a dress, and then I would run to my bedroom, put my dress on, and then I'd run out into the lounge where Mum and Dad were chatting, and I wanted to know what Dad thought.
Oh, right.
I just wanted to know what Dad thought. So I'd twirl and I'd dance in the lounge, and I'm just waiting for Dad to go, oh, my sweetheart, you look amazing in that.
Yeah.
So what happens when Dad says, Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Is that what you're going to wear when we go out for
Yeah.
ice cream later?
Mm.
So it starts right from that very, very early age. So it's so important that, and as we get older and we're in that position where we can choose, it's harder when you're little. You know, you don't get to choose who you have to listen to. Adults are people in authority over you, and therefore you listen and you obey.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Regardless of what they say. I mean, I remember one of my sons being bullied horrifically at school by one of his teachers. It was horrific, and I was appalled. I went up in arms, I have to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I just have to say, when you are a woman,
yeah,
who is beginning to realize that you have a voice that's maybe been silenced for many years, one of the first things you need to be mindful of is who's speaking into your life that's feeding those lies that you have believed as truth. Yes.
I love that. And that's the thing. And from what you were saying about, looking for dad's approval for my outfit, approval is the big word, isn't it? It's approval and opinions. Like, whose approval?
Yes.
You only need your approval for everything. And if we stop seeking approval outside of ourselves, and I think that must come from a self-belief thing as well, that we need to people please, and where are we seeking for our approval? Because if you can practice and rewire so that your only approval, like your value is in your own approval of yourself, then you no longer need, you don't give fat rats what anybody else thinks outside. You're okay. And this is why that saying, you are enough, is just the most beautiful words to every woman's ears. No matter where you are right now in your life, you are enough. If you are unemployed and have mental health issues and you have trouble getting out of bed in the morning, you are enough. If you are a successful businesswoman, you are enough. And this is the thing, it doesn't matter where you are in your life right now, right here, right now, you are enough. And the only person's opinion that matters is yours. And I always say my head, it's God's as well, but that's a different thing entirely. But and I think this is something that if women, and this is why I love women in the women helping space, like in coaching and transformation, is to come alongside. And just for you watching at home, because I know we're sort of nearly at the end of time, is that Nalini does transformation coaching as well. If you've enjoyed Nalini's story and you feel connected to her, you can explore that a little bit more. I'll leave all of her social links and her website link to her pages. And again, this space is all about women helping women succeed and coming alongside each other where we are right now and lifting each other up, giving each other love and encouragement, and 100% unconditional support and acceptance and inclusion.
Absolutely, absolutely. Nothing less than. That's what we deserve, right?
Yes, exactly. And if we don't give it to each other, we're in trouble. I think, and I'm not saying anything bad about men. Men are amazing, and they have that. We're all a community, but women really need to come around each other and support each other and lift each other up. We're not in competition with each other.
I agree.
We are, us as women, as nurturers, are the best to come together and really undo some of that damage that life has caused. Because we all, every single woman, I guess, just to wrap up, Nalini, is every single woman, every one of us is born with hopes and dreams and aspirations. I had grandiose dreams myself, and every one of you watching did as well. And then life came and kicked us up the backside and chipped away at some of our self-belief. But it doesn't matter where you are in your life right now. It's never too late to become the woman you wanted to be. I agree. And that's why people like us exist, and people like that, coaches. You don't have to do it on your own. There's women out there to support you and help you and nurture you to do that as well. So I just thank you so much, Nalini. I really love that story, and thank you for your openness and honesty about that. It's a really good message. My big takeaway is be aware of who you allow to speak into your life, ladies. Any final words of wisdom for women out there watching who might be thinking, I don't know if I can be everything I want to be? What would you say to them?
Look, I think, you see, here's just one saying that I love is, if you want something you've never had before, you're going to have to try something you've never tried before.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe now is the time for change. Maybe now is the time to try something you've never tried before, because you just don't know what could be on the other side of that.
Yeah.
You know, but I think sometimes we become so used to settling and being silenced that becomes the norm.
Yeah.
Okay, but then you're going to have to be okay with that then for the rest of your life. And if you're not okay with that, then it's time to do something about it.
Oh, I love it. If you're not okay with it, it's time to take a step. And you only need to take one step.
Yeah.
Just try just a little bit every day to get you where you need to go.
That's exactly it. Yeah, that's
and you don't have to do it alone.
No, that's it.
Oh, Nalini, thank you so much. It's an absolute pleasure chatting with you and listening to your story. And for those of you watching, I'll leave all of Nalini's links if you'd like to get to know her. Follow her on social media. Check out her website. It'll all be in the description of this video. But thank you, Nalini.
Of course. Lovely to connect.
Yay. And thank you for watching another episode of No Ordinary Woman. And we'll see you all next time. Bye for now.